This is 93.5 CHMR FM.
Check out The Reggae Show every Saturday night from 7 to 9 with me, your host, Charlene Penny. Scorching it up from 7 to 9 on CHMR 93.5.
Yeah, you are come again. You can do it, baby, do it. Do it like you never do before.
Okay, and welcome to the program. This is 93.5 CHMR FM. My name is Charmaine. I'm your host for the next 2 hours. I do thank you for joining me tonight. Of course, tonight I've got a special episode. I recently did an interview with Jim Fiddler the other day on a beautiful, sunny St. John's afternoon. I was fortunate enough to go into the Roots Cellar studio, and I had a nice little sit down with Mr. Fiddler, and we had a nice chat, and that's what we're all here to listen forward to tonight. So here we go, and I will be back after the interview to play some songs and have a little more discussion. Do enjoy, do stay tuned. This is 93.5. Okay, well, we're listening to The Reggae Show tonight. My special guest is Jim Fiddler. We're here to talk about his new forthcoming album titled Revolution Time. Just had a little listen, and it sounds great. Well, the first question is probably, what is the main idea, the main inspiration for you for this new album?
Well, I think the main thing, really, Revolution Time, the title, it's... People say, well, what do you mean, revolution time? Is it time for everyone to grab a gun and start killing all their mayors and deputy mayors and prime ministers and stuff? No. What I'm talking about is revolution time. It's always revolution time. For one thing, we don't live in linear time as much as many of us have been taught. Look at that. Does that look very linear to you? I'm showing her my watch. And so it's all about cycles, revolutions. And the learning process really is more about, information is collected in a linear fashion, but wisdom is collected over generations, which is the cycle of life. And it's more about that. It's more of a call to eyes as opposed to a call to arms. It's revolution time. Time for people to throw their TV sets out and wake up and get the hell out of the matrix.
Okay, very interesting. That's an interesting concept on wisdom. It's sort of collectively... Like, do you think people influence each other as well? Or?
Absolutely. Well, if you follow the linear teaching, what do those old fools know anyway? But if you follow the cycle of life, look at what's passed down from generation to generation, and look at the difference between the two.
Do you use music as a sort of a tool or an avenue to sort of impart wisdom to people?
Absolutely. Music is a big kit of tools, a big box of tools, really. All the instruments and all the various things. Sometimes people ask me about, how many instruments do you play? And I say to them, well, it's kind of like asking a carpenter, how many tools can you use? We use whatever tools we need at any given point in time. If I need some bass guitar in a song, I reach up there on the wall and grab the bass guitar. And if I need some kabasa in a song, I go over there to the shelf and grab the kabasa, and if I want some strat, I reach up over there, grab the strat. And sometimes we even make our little tools, just as if somebody hands you down a box full of tools that you got from your mom or your grandmother or your dad or your grandfather. You'll find tools in that box that he or she made themselves for their sewing or knitting or macrame or carpentry or cabinet making or whatever it is, and that's the glory of it all. It's that's where the wisdom, more so than the information, comes in, because you learn from inheriting those tools and being taught how to use them. You learn how to MacGyver things as you go along, and that's wisdom as opposed to regurgitating information.
Interesting. I haven't heard anyone use MacGyver as a verb before. So that's very interesting. I'll try to incorporate that in my speech.
I don't think I've ever done it myself, so yeah.
So you mentioned a lot of different instruments. I've had a little listen through the album, and I've heard several instruments that sort of caught my ear. I was wondering about the Melodeon.
Yeah.
That sounded very interesting. What is the Melodeon again?
It's
Could you remind me and the listeners, perhaps?
It's a ting. Let's see if I can grab it real quick here for you. It's kind of like most people would know it as a little thing. There we go. It looks kind of like a piano, a little piano key kind of thing. Pop it open here, and you grab this little hose, and you pop it on there, and then you pick it up, and you commence to like so. So yeah, it's a wind instrument, and I think that it's used mostly. I think probably people would know it mostly from, say, ska or ska. Yeah, the sort of UK ska stuff.
Right.
And Augustus Pablo, that kind of thing.
Yes, definitely.
Very, very, very Pavlovian.
Yes.
Not to be confused with the dog.
No.
The salivating dog. Yes. Pack this kid away. Yeah. So it's a nice instrument. I really like the Melodeon. It's very, very expressive. You can control a lot of the dynamics, the breath, with that tube thing. So you got real full control, more so than say with the melodica. I've played the melodica. I've had a melodica for a long time, good now, since I don't know, 84 or something like that. And I just find the Melodeon a lot more expressive.
Oh, okay. So what's the difference between the Melodeon and the melodica?
The Melodeon you kind of stick in your beak and blow into, and the melodica and the Melodeon, you have that tube, which it's a different airflow, and you just get better control. You're not blowing directly into the end of it. There's more space more distance for the air to travel. Put the melodica back. Try not to knock everything down. There we go. We're in the root cellar, by the way, folks.
So is this the studio that you record everything in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yes, because when I saw the board there, and I thought maybe this was the root cellar. Okay, nice. Because I've looked at some of your other CDs as well. At the station we have the Pressure Drop CD.
Yeah.
That was recorded in the root cellar.
Yeah.
I've seen that a couple times. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here.
Way back when.
Cellar.
Way back when. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I've heard a lot of beautiful harmonies and background singers on this as well. Who are they? Performers, like studio performers, or will they be with you live at the shows?
Yeah, the couple of girls there on a couple of the tracks are women, ladies, whatever, people of the female persuasion. Anne Devine and Terry Linetti.
Oh, okay, so Anne Devine and Terry Linetti. Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Sounded very beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh.
and then all those male vocals, harmonies and stuff. That's just multiple me's.
That was multiple years.
Yeah, just take out a whack go to my hat rack, and then just when I go to sing the bass vocal, I wear a different hat. Wear my pork pie for the bass vocal, and when I sing the higher ones, I get my cap.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So literally, you would wear many different hats on the back.
Yeah.
You could say that literally.
Well, it's one of them things. It's like a painter. A painter doesn't exactly call all their friends over to put a dab of paint here and there. So as a multi-instrumentalist, it's a funny animal, really. A lot of people can't get their heads around, what is a multi-instrumentalist? Well, quite simply, it's just somebody who doesn't specialize in one particular instrument, and the old jack of all trades thing, whatever. But it's not quite like that, really. I think the carpenter analogy is the best one, or the cabinet maker. You have a set of tools and you use them whenever you need them. And so for me, making this record, it was really part of the process for me of making this record wasn't just going out and bringing people into the studio, getting this one in to play bass and getting that one in. I wasn't trying to build a star-studded record. I had access to a lot of musicians in Barbados and New York City, and I could have gotten anyone to play, not necessarily anyone, but I could have gotten some names on this record, let's say. But what's the point? So I made the record. It's from me. It's honest. It's my expression. It's my playing. And this record is about 99% first takes.
Oh, wow.
So what took me so long, the record was really about 2 years in the making, not full time, working on other things as well, but part of the reason why it took me so long was that I took the time to just lay down some simple scratch bed tracks and then jam. So I really, just like a band would get together in a rehearsal space and get used to each other and come to expect what the drummer's going to do next and get a feel for where the guitar player likes to go, all these kinds of tings. I went through that process with myself So I think people will hear, when they listen to this record, they will hear a band and not just a bunch of tracks individually, coldly, recorded in a studio kind of thing. It really does have that band feel, because that's what it is, really. Just at any given time, I'm just playing a different instrument, but I'm playing it the same way as if I were playing with, say, for example, if I had brothers and sisters that were playing all the other instruments.
And also, I guess, sort of, as the creator of it, like, you probably understand it the best, and so if you're...
Yes.
Whatever your understanding is of a particular song, I imagine you have that same understanding whether you're on the bass or whether you're playing guitar. Yeah,
you're not having to ram...
the same feel.
You're not having to ram anything down somebody else's throats and try to get them to play the way you want them to play. And as a songwriter, that's very handy, too, because you know what you want. And that just makes it easier that way. Because a lot of the time, trying to get somebody else to play the way you would play it, okay, for live, that's fine. But studio-wise, boy, I tell you, it's just the whole sort of mutual respect thing. It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult to say, no, I don't want you to play the way you want to play it. I want you to play the way I play it. So I want you to sort of imitate me, in a sense. It's the same concept, really, as, say, in classical music. You hear the music in your head, you compose it, you write out all the parts. So everyone just doesn't show up and jam the darn thing. I mean, if it's Beethoven's Ninth, it's Beethoven's Ninth. And really that's the same, whether it's, Info War on my record here, Revolution Time, or Beethoven's Ninth, or whatever. There's somewhere at some point there was a composer who had a vision and had that whole thing in their head. And, praise to the Almighty Creator that I have the ability to, and the technology to express that myself without having to browbeat anybody else.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
So speaking of live shows, your CD release is coming up this Thursday, August 6th.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an exciting live show. I've been waiting for that for a while.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts? How do you feel about the upcoming live show and the CD release?
Well, this record has been so long coming. I first started thinking about this record in about 1985.
Okay, wow.
And that led me to co-founding the PTR, and then actually forming Pressure Drop. I recorded a 45 in, I think it was 89, something like that, by myself. Went into Echo Studios, laid down all the tracks and all that. And that experience really convinced me that I really wanted to get out again and do the thing. So I came up with this concept, this idea for a group. Took the name from a song by Toots and the Maytals, Pressure Drop, and I got on the phone and started phoning people up, some who I'd played with previously with PTR, and some other people that I wanted to be part of the group, and put that group together. We recorded 2 CDs and so on, but it wasn't the record that I wanted to make. It wasn't the solo album, the thing that I wanted to do. It was Pressure Drop. It wasn't me, So did that, and of course Pressure Drop blew up, and then I carried on to record several other, solo records spanning from Celtic to North African and Middle Eastern and Gypsy, and of course there's reggae undertones in it all. Even when I was consciously trying to not do that, it still came across anyway. But now, with this record, finally, after all this time, I have this thing. So next Thursday night for me, I don't know emotionally what it's going to be like for me. Of course, we're going to have people there from the Pressure Drop days. And if you're listening to this and you used to go to the Pressure Drop shows, and you remember all the fun we had, then you got to come Thursday night. If you've only heard about it, you got to come. If you don't know anything about it, you got to come. Because I need as much love and support from the people all around me. And that's the audience, that's the musicians, that's everybody. Because we're all together, that's the whole thing. That's one of the things about Pressure Drop. I was very strong about that we weren't performing at a crowd, that we had to involve the crowd, that the crowd was part of the group, that the event, the thing that we were doing in that room at that time involved everybody. And that's what's going to be going on Thursday night. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the lazy. Buck up, pack up your dancing shoes and come on down. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds excellent. So that's Thursday at the Rock House.
Thursday at the Rock House, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Okay.
Yep. And if anyone's worried about things going too late, we're planning on wrapping it up roughly around midnight or so. So that's plenty of time to get yourself tucked in and get to work the next day.
Yes, absolutely.
I would actually recommend, just taking the day off and, going the long haul. But yeah, 8 to 12 kind of thing. And we're doing it the way we're doing it because the thing that's more important than me or anything else that night is the CD. So the CD has to take top priority. And so what we're doing is buy a CD and get in for free. So we're not even describing it, and we're not trying to play, Edward Bernays, advertising psychology on anybody. Is the glass half empty or half full? Quite frankly, is it a $20 cover charge and then we're going to give you a CD for free? No, I'm not giving the CD away for free. Too much work went into this. So you buy a CD and you come in. If you don't want the CD, don't come in.
Well, I think that's great. You buy the CD and then you get a free show and a free party, and
yeah.
So I think that's great.
Well, I think that's really what it's really more about. So yeah, I think when people buy that CD and come have the experience and go away, put on the CD, I think they'll realize that we weren't just describing it that way, but that's actually what happened. So yeah.
Excellent. Sounds good. I'm looking very much forward to it.
Yay, you'll be there with bells on?
Yes, I'll have some bells on.
All right. All right. Cool.
Well, I was listening through the record previously, and I noticed that you're doing a Bob Marley cover, Lively Up Yourself, which I mentioned earlier is my dad's favorite reggae song. So I was very pleased to see that, and I'm sure Dad would be very pleased to hear that.
Cool.
So any reason, other than probably being a Bob Marley fan, why did you select that song in particular?
Well, I'm not so much a fan. It's funny, I think about this big kind of caveman stick with a bunch of thorns and twisted, jagged nails sticking out of it, and I call it the fan club. It's the thing that you get your way from the stage to the dressing room with, the fan club. Fan means fanatic.
Right.
And, I don't think Jim Fiddler needs fanatics, and I don't think Bob Marley needs fanatics, but people that really respect the person and what they do and why they do what they do and how they do what they do, that kind of thing. That's much more useful, I think. And always been a big connection for me with Robert Nesta Marley. In fact, if you look at the dedication of the record, it's dedicated to my dad, whose name is James Marley Fiddler.
Oh wow.
And his father, my grandfather, his name was Lowell Marley Fiddler, and my great-grandfather, his name was Marley Alfred Fiddler. So that that whole thing, I didn't even know anything about that. Didn't know anything about that until I went to Pennsylvania in '87 to meet my family and my little first cousin Christina, who did quite well for herself. She's had several #1 global hits and stuff like that.
Right, Christina Aguilera.
Yeah. So music in the family all the way along. I remember when I asked my dad for the first time. See, I never met my dad till I was 22, and I remember asking him, geez, he has the same name as me, but what's your middle name? And he just says Marley, and I'm like, no way. No way, that's too much. And then it was like 5 years later I found out that it was also my grandfather's name. And then it was only about 5 years ago that I found out it was my great-grandfather's name. And yeah, there is a possible familial connection. But let's not go any further than that and blow it out of proportion. It doesn't matter. But people feel connections. So with Bob, for example, I don't really feel so much like a fan. I feel more like a connection and an admiration and a respect. And now, to actually answer your question, why did I do that song? Because it was kind of busting out of me, you know? It just, one day I was here, it was in the middle of the winter, and I had it going around and around in my head. I had no plans on putting it on the record whatsoever, but it wouldn't leave me alone. So I just went into the studio, started laying down tracks. By that night, I had basically everything you heard, except for some extra backing vocals. And what else did I put in afterward? I think, I don't know. I think I recorded the whole song that day.
Okay.
And then just added some backing vocals and mixed it later. Terry Linetti came in and did the backing vocals. So it was just more or less to keep it from driving me mad, because it was just banging around and around in my head. And when it was done, I thought to myself, just why not put it on the record? Yeah.
I can't really think of a better reason why not to include something other than I did it because it was bursting out of me.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why I did it.
Well, that's the thing. So it wasn't kind of planned or contrived or anything. It wasn't premeditated by any means. It just the creator put it there, I guess. Where do the songs come from? I don't feel like, sometimes you're working on material and you're polishing it up. Like, I guess people write essays and this and that, and you go back and there's several drafts you go back after, but the original draft, I call myself a song finder or a song catcher as opposed to a song writer, because they don't come from me. They honestly don't. They come to me. And what I do ultimately is I just kind of a nip here and a tuck there, and then I realize it in terms of actually playing instruments and recording them on the tracks. But the actual songs themselves just come from the same place that the notion to record Lively Up Yourself came from the same source. Some people call that Jah, some people call that God, some people call that Buddha, some people call that the cosmic consciousness or whatever it is. That's where it comes from.
That's good.
Well, thank God for it. Yes.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
I've had a really good time listening to the record. I'm really excited for it, and
Yay.
I can't wait for Thursday night.
Excellent. So, got to tell everybody, make sure you're there. You don't want to miss this. You don't want to hear about this after the fact, people telling you should have been there and all that stuff. So, look forward to seeing you all.
Indeed, we just heard from Newfoundland musician Jim Fiddler. He's an independent recording artist who's been involved in projects playing and producing everything from bluegrass to reggae. And as we mentioned earlier, Revolution Time is the new CD. It will be launched Thursday, October 6th at 8 p.m. at the Rock House on George Street. So put on your dancing shoes and get ready for a night of great roots, rock, and most certainly reggae. So we look forward to that. And I would like to thank Jim for coming to the show and giving us a interesting and insightful interview. He's welcome back anytime, of course. The CD is Revolution Time. If you're in St. John's, if you're in the local area, you may have seen some beautiful posters for the CD, like on the poles on Water Street and Duckworth Street and things like that. And I noticed them myself, and of course, I see the red, gold, and green, so someone like me, of course, sees that and, gets drawn to that. And of course, the poster is very beautiful. It has sort of two concentric circles, which is sort of the ideal of beauty, sort of concentric circles. So Jim pointed out to me the other day, he was like, look at the poster, sort of look at it and then sort of gaze away from it and let your eyes like run over it. Do you notice anything? Does anything jump at you? Anything? And of course, the poster is an optical illusion. So you should run out and look at it later and see if you can see the optical illusion. Like there's two circles. One circle is moving in one direction and the other circle is made of arrows moving in the other direction. So if you sort of gaze sweepingly over it, you can see sort of a bit of turning, sort of movement. And I think that's pretty clever because the CD is titled sort of Revolution Time, and so I thought that was neat. So yes, if you're out for a stroll tonight, you can take notice of that. So we have something very, very special tonight. We have a CHMR exclusive, a world exclusive, if you will, advanced copy of Revolution Time. I've been listening to it. It's great. So we're going to listen to a couple tracks off the new CD. So let's just dive right into it. We're going to begin with the opening track. So do enjoy. This is Jim Fiddler's long-awaited CD Revolution Time on 93.5 CHMR FM.
Them say revolution time a come.
Wait, whatever coming to me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It is your info. 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 Whoa. Yeah. Things I want, but I don't wanna go there. And what's the use in double talking nothing? I will stand firm, yeah, 'cause I can't help but think about the children. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It is your info. 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 Whoa, 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 whoa. Things I want, but I don't wanna go there. 'Cause all them wrath might come right down upon me. But I can't stay just sitting doing nothing. So I will say whatever coming to me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It is your info. 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 Whoa. It is your info.